Our Microsoft Keynoter in the Monday UC Summit that we ran, my co-moderator, Jim Burton, mentioned that our Keynoter, Zig Serafin, had been on a summit like that with us about 10 years before, mid-2000s. At that point, this event was called VoiceCon. Microsoft was called a challenger in this space. And today we're at Enterprise Connect 2016, and Microsoft is unquestionably one of the dominant forces in enterprise communications. And what they announce at this event and what they demonstrate and what they say are all things that are likely to affect a lot of you in your jobs. And so that's why we're very pleased to have Microsoft here today and to have Zig Serafin as our keynoter. So I'm going to, without any further ado, I want to welcome Zig Serafin, Corporate Vice President of Skype Business Services at Microsoft. And
thank you.
Thank you, Zig.
Thank you. Thank you. It is an absolute honor and a privilege to be here with so many of you that are our customers, our partners, bumping into people at this conference here. I've seen people from all over the world, so it's really, really, really great to be able to be here again this year. All of us in this room, I think we come here to this conference because we're facing a common challenge. It's about how do we deliver highly sophisticated technologies and communications, but in ways that solves the problems that we're working on without creating a whole heap of another set of problems. And if you study this, we find that there's a consistent theme in every success example of this, as well as in failures. There's an auto industry example of this particular challenge. Multi-billion dollars, lots of money has been spent on infotainment systems. Many of us, when you walk into a car, you'll walk in, you'll see a different infotainment system experience in one car, from another. And there was a recent Consumer Reports survey that was done on customer satisfaction in cars. And it turns out, not surprisingly, that infotainment systems are the single biggest cause of dissatisfaction in cars, despite the amount of money and investment that's been spent on these things. People couldn't figure them out. They're not reliable. But what was really surprising is the fact that that was a shared view that was across demographics, including millennials. And the challenges that were cited that these things are expensive, they're complex, the interfaces are not very familiar, and there's a slow refresh cycle. By the time you end up catching up to fix something that people would want, it takes a long time. If you just take a moment on that, just reflect on that, I think that there's some similarities of that to some of the challenges that are faced in the communications industry. Now, there's another example in the car industry, which you can contrast that example with, which is the push-button key start that is becoming quickly ubiquitous inside cars. Over the next 5 years, probably most cars will have that push-button experience. And what car manufacturers have done cleverly is they've built on 100 years of ingrained muscle memory. You push a button, and you start something. You push a button, you start something. And so they've taken a familiar, simple user interface. They've hid the complexity that's in the background. And believe me, there's a lot of complexity that they're hiding. Engine mobilization, security, wireless proximity detection. I mean, there's a whole host of things. But the bottom line is that there's a familiar UI, and it makes a critical function that people use every single day a lot better. Our goal with Skype and Skype for Business is very similar to that start button example. And based on this theme of simplicity, familiarity, here last year at Enterprise Connect, we launched Skype for Business. And we established a modern enterprise-grade communication service in Office 365. And we had some goals that we set out that would start to reveal a lot of engineering work that we've been working on for several years prior that began in December 2015 with the launch of a worldwide, multi-tenant, centralized cloud PBX system as part of Skype for Business. We also launched PSTN calling, natively integrated with that experience. We launched broadcasting as part of Skype for Business, and we also launched PSTN conferencing, natively built in as part of the overall meetings experience. And the response continues to be fantastic from customers and partners. Today, recent statistic, we power more modern meetings than any other provider, with over 100 million meetings served every single month. Now, building on this, there's already thousands of businesses that are using the Cloud PBX calling and conferencing functionality, and we just launched in December. Now, you might want to ask, why is there such momentum, such adoption? Why are people picking up on these things? It really goes back to our roots. Our original roots going 10 years back was to build an experience and a software platform where you put the user at the center. One experience that would actually end up crossing how you connect and communicate and find people, search for people, that allows you then to be able to use whatever modality makes sense in the moment that you're actually trying to connect with them, whether it's voice, whether it's sharing your screen, whether it's video. And this is very unlike some of the stitching together movements that we've seen within our industry, where people have been trying to acquire technologies and put them together. You can't stitch your way into unified communications. You have to start with the right kind of platform. Now, I could keep talking about vision and direction on things, but I'd rather be up here showing you the real stuff. And so I'm going to invite my colleagues Ben, Ilya, and Kavita to come out on stage. And we're going to take you through some of the things that we launched, but we're also going to show you some new things. Now, Ben, you're going to act like Mr. IT guy today.
That's me.
And what I'd like you to do is, let's just set up, let's say, 50 employees at a new office location that I'm opening up for our big business, and take us through what that would be with the new Office 365 Skype for Business experience.
Yeah, thanks, Zig. Zig mentioned yesterday that he was going to want me to do this, so and it's a tall order. I went down to the Cisco team and I asked them what I should do, and they gave me this. This is the 666 pages, I did not make that number up, pages of CUCM version 11 Administrator's Guide. I'm sure many of you in the audience have had to deal with a beast like this when you're setting up a new service at a new site, but fortunately we don't need that anymore. We've got a new way to do it with Office 365, and let me walk you through it. So here I am in the Office 365 admin portal. This is one single integrated portal for managing all of your users for your entire productivity, unified communications, Active Directory suite, all together in one place. And that integration makes manageability a lot easier. It also allows us to integrate those experiences in a really profound way. If I drill down, let's look at the user page for Kavita, who's going to be joining our new Orlando office. If I want to light Kavita up for, what was it yesterday, messaging, calling, and meetings, for global audio conferencing, for broadcast meetings, for cloud PBX and all of those capabilities, even for DIDs and international and domestic calling, what I need to do is check that box and check that box and click Save. And I'm done with setting her up. Now, that might sound too good to be true, so let me talk you through what actually happened there. So let's talk about conferencing first. When I checked that box, the Office 365 system automatically assigned numbers in countries all over the world for audio conferencing for my tenancy. As of this month, we're in over 60 countries. By May, we'll have 800 numbers, and by mid-year, we'll be in about 100 countries. This is an all-you-can-eat conferencing service. There are no permanent charges at all. All of your employees can have as many conferences as they want around the world, all included as part of Office 365, and the numbers automatically configured and provided to you, managed by Office 365 right out of the box. So let me shift gears and let's talk about PBX and calling. Now, again, when I checked that box, Kavita was automatically provisioned onto our Cloud PBX. So she automatically gets, great features like voicemail, team call, call forwarding, all of those great kind of core PBX features automatically configured for her. Those PBX capabilities are available worldwide today. Using Skype for Business Server, I can connect any carrier in the world and any legacy PBX in the world up to that Cloud PBX and take advantage of those capabilities. I'm really excited to announce today that starting in April, you'll be able to download our new Cloud Connector edition for free. and be able to, again, connect any carrier in the world or any legacy PBX into the Office 365 system with no existing Skype for Business infrastructure required. It's a super simple, easy to configure VM, sets you right up. Now, here in the US, there's another way to go. You can, and I'd like to show that to you now. You can get your telephony and your DIDs directly from Microsoft. Let me show you how that works. Zig said that he wanted us to set up 50 users in Orlando. So I'm here on the Office 365 page with all of my existing numbers that I've already set up and configured for our company. So I'll go in and say, hey, I want some new numbers in Florida. Let's go ahead and get that 407 area code. That's the cool one in Orlando. And we'll go ahead and get 50 numbers. And when I click Add, we're going to automatically go and get out of our number inventory 50 numbers. You can see them here. And I've now got 50 numbers for my company. They're mine to do with as I please. If I want to light up Kavita, back to the phone number page here, I can take one of those numbers and just assign it to her. So we'll select user, search for Kavita. There we go. And then I'll tell the system that she's in our new Orlando office. That way, when we hook up all of the E911 services, that'll just work. And God forbid, if the ambulances had to come, they'd know where to go. So as soon as I click Save there, she's now lit up. And about 2 minutes from now, anyone on the planet can call that 407 number, and it's going to ring Kavita's desk phone and find her wherever she was. That's it. I'm now done. She can make local and international calling as much as she wants, just built into the system. Now, of course, if I had existing numbers for Kavita, I could obviously port them in. You can either do that from the website, or you can call our service desk, and we'll manage all of the interactions with the other carrier for you, so we take care of that. And of course, you know, we're all IT professionals here. The UI is great, but I want to make sure I can automate this. So here's about 5 lines of remote PowerShell that'll allow you to do this for thousands of users in bulk, or bake this into your remove, add, change process, including going out and getting new numbers dynamically. So we make that super simple for you to do. Now, this is great for the US, but it turns out I also have some employees that are in our London office, and it'd be great if I could go and take care of those employees here too. Well, I'm also excited to announce that by mid-year, we'll be expanding this PSTN calling service. And I'll be able to come into exactly this same UI with exactly the same subscriptions and pick something like England and London from the drop-down, ask for, let's say 5 numbers there, and boom, I've got 5 numbers in London that I can just assign to an employee and get exactly the same benefits. And when I do, this phone will light up when anyone calls it. Steve Blood, if you're in the office, this hat is for you. So it's just as simple as that. So one last thing, we're always adding new capabilities to the cloud PBX. And the great thing about the cloud is that as we add new capabilities, you just get them automatically. There's no upgrade or deployment cycle, no hardware to buy, anything like that. A key one for this new Orlando office is that I want to set up a mainline number and hook up an auto attendant for it, and that's a feature that we're working on internally right now, and I've got in preview in this tenant here. So I can just click on the auto attendants tab, and I add a new auto attendant for the Orlando office. Orlando. I can't spell. I still can't spell. There we go. I can pick, an 800 number, and as soon as I click Save, what the system is going to do is it's going to hook up that number. It's going to hook up to the directory because we've already got the directory, and it's going to connect that into our advanced Cortana voice services on the back end, so that anyone in the world who calls my 800 number from my Orlando office and asks for Kavita is going to get right to her, even if they mangle the pronunciation of her name as badly as I often do. So there you have it, from sort of nothing to multinational UC and telephony infrastructure with DIDs in under 5 minutes, from soup to nuts.
Great. So. Thank you, Ben. Very nice. So what you saw here was the start button for IT leaders, both in terms of the 365 admin experience, as well as you saw the PowerShell utility for large company-based changes in number provisioning and portability. What you'll notice is the ease of convenience and the level of cloud automation that's taking place here. You're taking the amount of heavy lifting and manual work that's been required in the past, and you're making that part of one integrated system, which is only possible with a cloud-based approach. And it's enabling a complete voice, meetings, and video solution. Now, let's take a look at the user experience dimension of this. Kavita's going to walk us through what the end user gets as a result of what Ben had just walked through. Kavita.
Thanks, Zig. Thrilled to be here. So first day in the office, people are excited, but they're anxious. They're anxious to get familiar with the new tools so they can get productive as quickly as possible. We've built the Skype for Business experience to be the start button for end users for their workplace communications. My kids use Skype every day to talk to my parents in India, and I'm sure many of you here in the audience do as well. And if you do, the Skype for Business experience will feel very familiar and right at home. I'm signed into the Skype for Business app here on my iPhone and on the Surface PC. This Polycom VVX series phone is also powered by Skype for Business. This phone came straight from the factory, and all I had to do was plug in power and Ethernet and sign in with my organizational credentials. And now, this phone is part of the Office 365 cloud. It can be managed in Office 365 and will also get firmware updates automatically. On my first day, I don't have to start with a clean slate. Because it is one unified Microsoft cloud, my peers and managers from Active Directory have already been added to my contact list right here. I can see their presence, and with just a single click, I can connect with them no matter where they are in the world. I can even start a meeting from right here and invite anybody in my organization to collaborate with me. Let's move over to the Surface PC. This is the familiar Skype for Business experience. Oh, looks like I'm getting a call on the number that Ben just provisioned for me right here. With just a single click, I can send it to voicemail, or I can set to do not disturb. And this voicemail will end up in my email inbox. And you might be wondering, so what's new about that? We can send calls to voicemail, and you can also make it end up in the email inbox for a long time. But what's new is that Ben just configured this right here on stage, and he didn't have to do any special Exchange configuration for me. So for the IT admin, it's simple, and for the end user, it's all lit up. Let's look at how to set up a meeting. So setting up a Skype for Business meeting is as simple as clicking this button. And again, that's something we've been doing forever. But what's new is that Ben configured me for worldwide PSTN conferencing. And not only do I get a join URL, I also get PSTN numbers right here in my invite. So my attendees can click the URL to get into my meeting, or if they're on the go, they can just dial into my meeting. Finally, let's look at the iPhone app. Again, because it is one unified Microsoft cloud, my upcoming meetings from Exchange show up right here for me. I can get into the meeting with just a single click of the join button. And I will get full audio and video, and even access to presented content, if there was any. Thanks, Zig. Over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Kavita. So now Kavita ended the meeting in a place where she was getting into collaboration with a lot of other people, where she spends a lot of us spend a lot of time. In fact, about 60% of all online meeting attendees actually connect from meeting rooms. And the problem with that is that about 97% of meeting rooms around the world, of which there's about 60 million rooms around the world, are only equipped with a display, which is not a touch-based display, maybe a projector, and a phone. There's no interaction. It's a poor remote experience for people that are coming in. It often contributes to the typical late-minute start that when people are trying to get into meetings. And so our view around this is that with Skype meeting-enabled spaces, we can do a lot better. And I'm going to ask Ilya to kind of walk through what we're doing around rooms innovation, as well as some things we have to announce around interoperability. Ilya?
Thanks, Zig. When any of us walk into one of those 97% of rooms that Zig mentioned that have a typical standard display, such as the one behind me, and of course a phone in the center of the room, our natural habit isn't to pull our mobile device out of the pocket, find an app, start it, and somehow use that to try to join the meeting. Our habit is to use the dial pad. So our job at Skype isn't to ask all of you to retrain all of your users to create new habits. My job is to get you the device experiences you need to deploy to all of your rooms and get simple, intuitive experiences that actually get used. So today it's my privilege to announce a new initiative, codenamed Project Rigel, which will get the Skype meeting experience inspired by Microsoft Surface Hub to every meeting room with just standard displays or projectors. Starting in the second half of this calendar year, Project Rigel devices will deliver a complete range of meeting room solutions which will not only connect to those standard displays and projectors, but deliver a consistent center-of-room control experience that brings Skype meetings within arm's reach for every user. Let me show you what I mean. This is an example of what some of the first Project Rigel devices will look like. This center-of-room control touchscreen system is actually a standard Surface Pro 4 hardware in a meeting room-specific smart dock from Logitech. This system can not only connect to any kind of flat panel, such as this one behind me, but it can also scale to a wide variety of meeting room sizes by connecting to AV systems from our partners, such as this Polycom Trio or this Logitech Conference Cam Connect. The really great thing about these kinds of center-of-room control experiences with Rigel devices is how dramatically they will simplify the meeting join and control experience. Just by walking up to this kind of device, I can start an ad hoc meeting, make a call, or in our case, join an existing meeting with just one push of a button. Now, because I'm joining a meeting that's already in progress, we're going to get rich audio, rich video, and content, in our case, a PowerPoint presentation, already in progress. But I can also control that whole experience right within arm's reach. So I can take over the presentation, I can see my complete roster of attendees, I can change layout to go to full screen video, all with just simple clicks. Now, joining me on this call, I've also got some really special attendees that I want to take a minute to introduce. So with me today are our friends from Logitech and Polycom, who are also taking the opportunity today to announce their initial Project Rigel plans. So allow me to introduce first, from Logitech, Jason Moss, Senior Director of Video Collaboration. Jason, welcome.
Thanks, Ilya. I'm talking to you today from the new Logitech Group Conference Cam that's connected to a Surface Pro. Logitech and Microsoft are great strategic partners in the space. In fact, we've sold over 18 million AV devices that are certified by Microsoft. Logitech is excited to be building the first meeting room smart dock for Rigel devices, as well as certifying our Logitech conference cams for both Surface Hub and Project Rigel systems.
Thank you so much, Jason, and thank you for your great partnership on Project Rigel. Now, the next person I'd like to introduce is from our longest-term partner in this space, Polycom. So please welcome Sam Kennedy. Sam?
Thanks, Ilya. I'm thrilled to join you today from a Polycom CX5100. We're so excited to be partnering with you on Project Rigel systems and certifying Polycom technologies like the Real Presence Trio and the CX5100 to work with both the Surface Hub and the Project Rigel systems. I'm also very excited to announce today that Polycom Group Series video solutions will work with Skype for Business Online and Office 365. And we're building a great new Skype for Business user interface for those Group Series systems. And of course, we are so excited to be partnering with you on the first in the industry cloud-based video interoperability service for Office 365 customers. In fact, we have Juan connected on a Cisco endpoint right now to demonstrate this video interoperability service.
Hi, Sam. Hi, Ilya. It's great to join you all at Enterprise Connect and also to be part of a Skype meeting experience from this Cisco SX10.
Well, thank you, Juan. Thank you, Sam. You know, we know how important the video endpoints all of you have deployed are. Even though they may be in 3% of meeting rooms, we know that some of those endpoints are in fact business critical. So we're incredibly excited to be partnering with Polycom on this new Office 365 connected cloud video interop service, which will bring in third-party VTCs, such as this Cisco SX10, into the Skype meeting experience, and we can't wait to see it be delivered also in the second half of this calendar year. Thank you. The combination of Project Rigel and the scale and expertise of our partners, such as Logitech and Polycom, will not only deliver a complete range of meeting solutions, but really set a new standard for meeting room experiences, all based on the Skype meeting experience. It's going to be a great year for meetings. Thank you.
Okay, so you saw a full meeting portfolio and a direction that we're taking with Polycom and Logitech based upon Skype meeting-based experiences. We showed you fast provisioning. We showed you a powerful user interface from a user experience perspective, given what Kabata walked through. That's not enough. One of the things that we have as a huge goal is to make Skype for Business management tools as easy for IT people, IT communications leaders, as Skype is for end users. And so in the second half of this year, we're going to be introducing a powerful unified management, reporting, and analytics tool set that will become a part of the communications cloud. This is going to enable customers to be able to understand calling usage patterns, understand call quality, and be able to analyze call quality, be able to troubleshoot issues that happen both in the cloud as well as in hybrid Skype for Business deployments using what we call the single pane of glass, and making all of that as a possibility within the Office 365 administration experience. So with that, I'd like to have Ben walk us through a little bit of that experience.
Thanks, Zig. You know, like you, we take our commitment to dial tone reliability incredibly seriously. And now that we're providing the dial tone in many cases, it has to work every single time. That's why we've invested heavily in delivering a global media delivery network that's designed to deliver great voice and video quality worldwide. And it's why we back our commitment with not only an availability SLA, but with a financially backed call quality SLA, so you can be confident in the investment that you're making. It's also why we've invested heavily in providing you with the tools that you need to manage your Skype for Business environment and deliver great call quality to your end users. What you're seeing on the screen here is the single pane of glass tool that Zig referred to. And you can see at a glance, I've got a complete picture of concurrent calls and conferences and messages throughout my environment. I can easily drill in on adoption and see if I'm getting the ROI that I'm looking for, and watch me get that great ROI from conference investments. I can do this both globally and at a specific site level, so I can see how things are flowing throughout my organization. Managing voice and media quality is also really easy with this tool. So at a glance, I can see, for example, here the call volume correlated with call quality, so I can understand, do I have any capacity or congestion issues on my network that I might need to look into. I can also see a quick quality distribution, so I can see that, hey, the vast majority of my calls are seeing really excellent quality. But for these couple that are seeing poor quality, with a single click, I can drill down into that list of calls and get all of the information that I need. So let me drill into a particular bad call that I pulled up just as an example. So here, this is a call from Anton back in our Redmond office to Suni, who was looks like at a Starbucks here in Orlando. And I can see immediately that this call had some problems, but more than that, I can see that Suni was calling in over unmanaged Wi-Fi from outside of the network, and that leg had very bad jitter and packet loss. I'm going to get a tremendous amount of environmental information. I'm going to get expert assistance to try to identify, hey, it looks like there might be a particular problem with this or that router or what have you within my environment. So all of the tools that I need to quickly get a handle on what's going on. We know that you need to have a live view into your environment, so this tool will give you a live view. This is actually live data for some stuff that's going on back in Redmond, so these are 13 live calls. We can do the same thing for conferences. So with one click, I can get down into actual live calls. I can also drill down on, specific individuals. So if I wanted to, find my call history, for example, this is all integrated in with the directory, so I can immediately drill down and find all of the information about all of the calls and conferences. So if I, get a call from a VP, for example, asking about a conference that they were on, I've got information right at my fingertips to be able to respond to that query. This tool does a tremendous amount of other things that I don't have time to show you. We can manage DID ranges here. We can manage all of your phone endpoints. So all in all, we're going to give you here a complete integrated solution for managing your Skype for Business environment and delivering that awesome call and video quality that your end users want and that you want to deliver. So,
thank you, Ben. So, let's do a really quick recap of what you've seen here, because we covered a lot of new things that we're enabling in these services. First, in the voice area, we announced PSTN conferencing expansion. 60 countries today, expanding to 100 in June. Second, we walked through the ability to connect any carrier dial tone service to the Cloud PBX using the Cloud Connector Edition that becomes available in April. Next, we're talking about a new set of PBX services that will become available in April, such as the organizational auto attendant with speech recognition that Ben showed us. And then last, not least, of course, is the fact that we're going to be enabling UK PSTN dialing and calling with a preview that opens up in May. And then in the rooms area, we talked about Project Rigel, major new initiative that makes Skype the start button inside meeting rooms with a set of solutions that will get introduced to the market in the second half of this year by Polycom and by Logitech. And then along with that is the important cloud video interop service where you get native interoperability with Office 365, given the partnership that Microsoft and Polycom have to be able to bring interoperability with Cisco video teleconferencing equipment, Polycom, and other solutions. And then all of this is actually supported through the unified management reporting and analytics suite that we're enabling, which will be also added in the second half of this year. Now, just taking a slight step back for a second, there's a lot of people jumping into this space and talking about cloud. The last panel talked about it. In fact, I think this whole Enterprise Connect, it seems to be the big theme that people are talking about. And I think it's pretty great to see a number of companies coming in. I think some companies are new, they're startups, and they've got some innovative things. A lot of existing incumbents are doing complete makeovers to actually start to become cloud-based companies. But this isn't just about bleeding old technology into the next. You have to look at this cloud-based environment, the approach to it, as a purpose-built communication system. If you look at the broader industry, there are 3 public clouds today: Amazon, Microsoft, and Google. Only one of those companies has actually taken the step to leverage that infrastructure and build a purpose-built communications cloud, and that is Microsoft. As we've been talking with customers around the world over the last couple of years, and especially in the last year, there are 3 things that we hear about that will become, I think, quite instructive to the way that we end up going about the cloud, and a consistent set of things that we hear over and over from customers about what is expected of the cloud. First is hyperscale. They want an always-on system. We're talking about mission-critical real-time communications here. They want a system that's fresh and it's constantly adapting and improving. They want a system that can scale instantly depending upon the needs of the business. They want a system that's globally available. Microsoft has 100+ data centers around the world. An enterprise can connect up to a Microsoft data center within a few milliseconds. And they want a flexible system that's actually hybrid, that doesn't have to sort of require people to start from scratch, but build on what you have today that you might be running on-prem or in a dedicated environment and have that be a part of the same communications fabric as you start to take advantage of the cloud. They want a system that's trusted with the highest standards in security and compliance. As an example, Microsoft has gone through a myriad of certifications, for instance, with the government for FedRAMP, or in healthcare, HIPAA compliance, PCI, or in the EU, the EU Model Clause. This is a cloud fabric and a communications fabric that is being built to the highest standards of security so that IT leaders don't have to deal with that complexity themselves. And then, of course, that gives you protection on the network, protection on data. You get data locality and the requirements around that in terms of sovereign clouds. And all of that is actually under the control of what IT leaders want to be able to do with that cloud. And the third dimension, an extremely important one, is intelligence. The cloud actually affords you to be able to do some things that have never been made possible if you take the on-prem, old software, hardware-based models. For example, machine learning-based routing and intelligence to be able to improve and enable speed of light, voice quality that takes place regardless of where you are in the world across a variety of different endpoints. And another dimension of intelligence is contextual intelligence, starting to be able to apply machine learning to be able to do reasoning and understanding based upon the patterns of how people are communicating. Not only enabling us to be able to bring new innovations, but actually also developers being able to tap into that fabric of communications. And on that last point of intelligence, there's some magical things that you can start to do. And so there's one more thing I want to show you today. Last year, we showed you an end-user vision video that showed what's to come around broadcasting. And in fact, we've enabled Skype for business broadcasting. It's commercially available. But this keynote itself has thousands of people that are actually watching it outside of this room today as we speak. And it's available for playback. Let's take a look at that.
Start an ad hoc meeting, make a call, or in our case, join an existing meeting with just one push of a button.
Now, our mission is to empower everyone to be able to communicate and connect anywhere around the world. It's core to Microsoft's mission to be able to help people do more. And accessibility is an absolutely important dimension of this. And I want to show you one more innovation that brings us one step closer to our goals in this way, in a very amazing way. So this session here, as you're seeing it being played back, is now being enabled with real-time transcription during the course of the playback. Let's take a look.
Now, joining me on this call, I've also got some really special attendees that I want to take a minute to introduce. So with me today are our friends from Logitech and Polycom.
Now, one other thing I want to show you that's really, really amazing. I mean, that's pretty amazing as it is, but really amazing is that you have the ability to now do the transcription across multiple languages in real time. Here we'll show you English to Spanish, English to Mandarin Chinese, English to German. Let's take a look.
Logitech and Microsoft are great strategic partners in the space. In fact, we've sold over 18 million AV devices that are certified by Microsoft. Logitech is excited to be building the first meeting room smart dock for Rigel devices.
This capability will be coming to Skype for Business in the second half of this year as part of our broadcasting experience. And the thing I want to really point out is this is only possible with a cloud that is developed and built for communications. It's coming in the second half. It's leveraging some of the intelligence layers of our cloud. There's more to come on this particular theme. So this is an exciting time. New possibilities. The idea of cloud-based innovation is a complete a game changer for all of us. It affords new capabilities. It's a new way for communications IT leaders to be able to offer productivity advancements that have never been made possible before. And that is why everyone inside Skype is focused on making sure that our customers and our partners can start taking advantage of everything in Office 365 immediately. Our team and our partners have put together a special offer here today at Enterprise Connect, and we invite you to get started today. On the screen is how you can start now. Thank you very much for coming to this keynote.